Welcome back to a very special episode of Two Idiots, One Podcast. I'm Taylor, and I will be leading you on this very exciting journey for the rest of the evening.
And I guess you've just forgotten about me. No problem. I'm the other host, and I'm Bailey.
Oh, I'm sorry. I guess I just ran out the door and forgot about you. Did you survive on your own?
I mean, I thought home invaders might get me.
Home
But-
invaders?
Yeah, because you left me home alone.
Oh, I think I did that like 3 or 4 times, right?
There were a lot of sequels.
But speaking of those, Bailey, since this is our Christmas spectacular episode, I just want to ask you a really quick question.
What's up, dog?
I want to know what you think about some of these classic Christmas movies.
Are we talking like It's a Wonderful Life, Miracle on 34th Street, or Charlie Brown Christmas? Because when I think of the classics, that's where my brain immediately goes.
You know, and I'm glad that you said that, because when I think of the classics, that's not where my brain goes. Because my brain goes immediately to A Christmas Story, Scrooged, because I like Bill Murray,
Who doesn't?
Ernest Saves Christmas, or even National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation with the 18,000 Lights. That's what I think of.
So you're like in the 80s, maybe early 90s with where you're thinking?
Yeah, because if I was in the early 90s, I'd probably think of something like Home Alone, right?
Okay. Or Home Alone 2, or Home Alone 3, perhaps,
Maybe The Nightmare Before Christmas.
or The Santa Claus with Tim Allen.
Still blows my mind that that's the 90s.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's a 94 release. It feels like it should be early 2000s.
Oh, like How the Grinch Stole Christmas?
Well, wasn't that even 99?
That was 2000. That was right there. But that also is released with, my all-time favorite Christmas movie, Elf.
Elf's a good one. I don't know if Elf stacks up to like Polar Express with that super dope animation style and the nice little golden bells.
Well, if you're talking about animation style, I think you should do the Jim Carrey Christmas Carol.
That's a solid one too.
That was a pretty solid one, I think. But was it as good as something like, I don't know, Hugo?
What the fuck is Hugo?
Did you ever read that? It was the easiest book in the world. It's 550 pages or something like that. It's 500 pages, but half of the pages are just pictures.
Never read it or heard of it.
Yeah, it's a Christmas movie.
I
Polar
mean,
Express is better.
yeah.
Polar Express is definitely better. Out of all of those, though, what would you say your favorite Christmas movie is?
Out of the ones we've mentioned, A Christmas Story, because I've
Why?
got the leg lamp.
So what is it about A Christmas Story that makes it? Because, I know why Elf is my favorite, but why is A Christmas Story your favorite?
I feel like it captures a magic around Christmas and really shows like a child's perspective of what they're excited for. They have gifts in mind that they want. They're excited for Santa to come. And I feel like it just really embodies it, especially since it's a look back on Ralphie, because it's him narrating it as an adult about his best Christmas.
When you put it like that, it's really hard for me to argue with you. I will say that it does capture that Christmas magic, but not as well as Elf does. Because the best way to spread Christmas cheer is singing loudly for all to hear.
So I'm glad that you mentioned singing loudly for all to hear, because that kind of reminds me of the greatest Christmas movie of all time.
Elf, right? That's what we're talking about. We're talking about Elf, right?
No, Die Hard. And the reason that singing loudly reminds me of it is because machine guns are loud and explosions are loud.
Hold up. We're talking about Die Hard?
The greatest Christmas movie of all time.
That's not a Christmas movie.
When does it take place?
Christmas Eve?
Okay. What decorations do you see in the background of most scenes?
Christmas decorations?
Why is John McClane in Los Angeles in the first place when he's a New York cop?
Because his wife is there at a Christmas party?
So he's there visiting for what?
Christmas?
And what does he send down the chimney to give a gift to the terrorists who have tried to take over the building?
C4?
Which is basically a present. That's a maximum payload.
I guess we can talk about the 1988 film Die Hard as the greatest Christmas movie of all time.
This is where we would insert cheers if we had such a button.
We would insert the cheers. Yeah, this is a 1988 movie starring Bruce Willis as John McClane, Alan Rickman as Hans Gruber, Bonnie Bedelia as Holly, which also adds on to your it's a Christmas movie because she's named after a Christmas decoration, and Reginald Johnson as Sergeant Al Powell.
And it's based on the novel by Roderick Thorpe called Nothing Lasts Forever.
But Jeb Stewart and Stephen E. D'Souza wrote it. They wrote the screenplay.
Yeah, adapted it for the screen.
And then who else but John McTiernan? McTiernan? McTiernan. I think that's how you say it. I'm really bad at pronouncing names. Directed it. You'll also maybe remember him as like the director of Predator.
Did he direct Predator as well?
Yeah.
I didn't know that, but they're both solid action movies.
Well, he also did Last Action Hero too. I don't know if you're familiar with that one.
So he did 2 movies with Arnold.
Yeah. Well, probably more. Let me see. Looks like he hasn't done anything since Basic in 2003. Oh, he did The Hunt for Red October too. You know, I did not know that. Okay.
I haven't seen it.
The Hunt for Red October?
No, it doesn't sound very Christmassy. It sounds more Halloween-y.
It's neither.
It's got October in the name. That's Halloween month.
I'm done. I am done with you. But if you were, do you want to do a summary of it, or do you want me to? Because it is Christmas. This is the Christmas special. It's a time of giving, so I am giving you the choice, my friend.
I think that it would probably be better if you were to do it, because my summary would be something super basic, like John McClane travels to LA for Christmas and gets intercepted by terrorists at Nakatomi Plaza when he's there visiting his wife at a Christmas party. And that would be the extent of my spoiler-free summary.
So because of that, I'm going to give the listeners what they want, because it is Christmas. Here's my present to you. John McClane is a disgruntled New York cop whose wife took a job at Nakatomi Plaza in Los Angeles, California. Flying across the country from one great state to another, he is going to visit her at a Christmas party, uninvited. Shocked to see him, the two have a little bit of a falling out, but before John can rekindle anything, Hans Gruber shows up to ruin the day. He's not spreading Christmas cheer, he's spreading bullets. With evil Santa coming to ruin the day, the real Santa Claus has to come and save the day, known as John McClane. Will he yippee-ki-yay motherfucker his way to victory and save Christmas and everybody inside? Or will Hans Gruber get what he wants and ruin Christmas? Is that not the movie?
It is. However, I have a couple issues with your statement.
Okay.
For onesies, he was invited. Her boss knew he was coming. He's the one who sent the limo, who sent the arguably the best character in the movie, Argyle, to pick him up.
It was kind of a last minute thing because she says it happened so fast. Like he kind of just does it, you know. And they're not really on the best terms. He's kind of going there to rekindle and stuff.
No, I agree with all of that, but he was invited, just not by his wife.
So he wasn't invited.
And he doesn't save everybody. For example, actually, we should wait for the spoiler section before we talk about the many deaths.
I mean, it is an action movie, so obviously some of the bad guys die, but they kind of ruined Christmas for themselves, okay? They're not coming home for the holidays.
No.
But they didn't deserve it. They were on the naughty list.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
They were for sure on Bruce Willis's naughty list, since in this Christmas movie, he is essentially Santa Claus.
He is Santa. He is 100% Santa, and he is doling out punishment for those that are on his naughty list.
Yeah, instead of giving coal down their stockings, he's shooting hot lead.
That was good. He's stuffing their stuff their stockings with C4.
He's dropping it down their chutes.
It's gonna be a big bang.
Oh my.
Yeah, it sounds like we're doing porno now. But anyway, do you want to do a spoiler-free review for this because it's a 1988 movie? If you haven't seen it by now, I mean,
We did the spoiler-free review.
that wasn't the spoiler-free review. That was just the summary.
Isn't a spoiler-free review and a summary basically the same thing?
Bailey, it's Christmas, okay?
Taylor, on a scale from 1 to 5, how many Jingle Bell Rocks would you give this bad boy?
I would give it 4 Jingle Bell Rocks out of 5 Jingle Bell Rocks.
Why?
Because it's a Christmas movie. No, the definitive factor for it is because Alan Rickman is a great bad guy and Bruce Willis is a really great actor. And it's a buddy cop movie, and I like those. And yeah, I mean, it's got really, really, really great, strong people for the lead in a movie that doesn't really have that strong of a plot at all. But it's got really great leads, which makes it super enjoyable for me. And there are some really cool stunts and explosions, so that ups the jingle bells for me. But yeah, I would say 4 out of 5 jingle bells. What would you give it?
I'm leaning towards about 3.5. While I agree that the actors were very good choices and the explosions and action sequences were pretty good, overall, I wasn't the hugest fan, or overall, I'm just not a huge fan of action movies in general. So because of that, that's going to negatively impact my score. However, I think this movie is super quotable, and that increases the score from its base, which would be like a 2.5 for an average movie. But because of awesome actors, really good dialogue, extremely funny, cool action sequences, it's about a 3.5 for me.
What do you think Roger Ebert gave it? If he was giving it jingle bells, what do you think it would be?
I would guess that he would probably give it 2.5 or 3 jingle bells out of 4, since he does a 1 to 4 scale.
Yeah, he gave it a 2 out of 4 stars, so 2.5 jingle bells is what he would give it. So I don't think that he liked it nearly as much as we did, but that's okay.
Some people's opinions, man.
Are wrong. Like how you're wrong if you think this isn't a Christmas movie.
Yeah, I would argue that it's a Christmas movie till my dying breath, even if Bruce Willis disagrees.
Oh, he did come out and say in the roast of Bruce Willis that this is not a Christmas movie, but I really attribute that to him being under duress when he said it.
Oh yeah, he was being roasted.
Yeah, so there's the duress right there. So yeah, that's not a factual statement. Fuck him.
Well, I mean, not fuck him. I love Bruce Willis, but
Did you know he's dying? Demi Moore posted a thing, like a picture of him with like the whole family, and said that this is basically his last Christmas. They don't expect him to make it to the next one. So he's going to die very soon is what I got out of that.
I did not see that, but that's super unfortunate.
Yeah, I'm a little sad about it. I mean, I'll be more sad when Sam Jackson dies.
I mean, I'm not trying to rate the amount of sadness I'll feel over celebrities' deaths. Anyone's dying is sad. I'm sad to hear it.
I mean, it's sad. You're not wrong, but I like Sam Jackson more than Bruce Willis. Like, Bruce Willis is still sad, but I liked him more than Wes Craven, so I got pretty upset about that one.
Wes Craven was heartbreaking. So was Chester from Linkin Park.
Yeah, Chester Bennington.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
No.
was convinced I had the last name wrong.
I mean, I think that's it,
I think so too.
but I'm not really a big Linkin Park fan.
Shocked gasp.
You knew that, didn't you?
I don't think so.
No. Like, Hybrid Theory and Meteora are the only 2 albums that I'll listen to for nostalgia's sake. But anyway, back to the topic at hand. Roll the spoiler music. That was good spoiler music.
Oh yeah, I feel very, very spoiler ready now. I'm ready to be spoiled.
Spoiler alert, Hans Gruber dies.
Yeah.
There's your spoil.
That's pretty much the only way you can spoil it, is who dies and who doesn't die, because everyone knows that there are like 5 sequels.
Well, I really don't think that you can spoil this movie, because I truly believe it is hard to spoil an action movie, because every action movie, especially the 80s, like 70s and 80s action movies, I'm really bad on the 80s, which was the golden age of action movies, argue with me. I think they all follow fundamentally the same plot of good guy wins, bad guy loses.
Yeah.
And it's just naturally assumed that if it has an R, that it's probably going to be violent, which means that the bad guy will probably die.
Yeah, and you'll probably see the bad guys' minions die and maybe one or two good guys die for dramatic effect.
Right, like people are gonna die. That's just a given. But explosions.
Yeah, no, the explosions were cool. The dialogue is really the thing that sets Die Hard apart for me from other action movies, including Predator, since that's another one that we mentioned that was directed by the same dude, is the dialogue in Die Hard is so good and it's so quotable. Like you said earlier, yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Yeah, it's like a pop culture reference. Everybody knows yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
And another one that is super popular that I've heard from other sources of media is I'm Agent Johnson and this is Special Agent Johnson. No relation. I'm pretty sure that in an episode of the Boondocks they make a joke like that. Or they make that joke almost exactly.
You go back and rewatch that.
It's such a good series. It's very funny.
But no, I think that in pop culture, this is one of those things where everybody knows about it. There are tons and tons of references. The dialogue is great. The acting is great. It's all around a great film. And I think that anybody that doesn't like Die Hard, because you're not an action person, like you hate action movies.
I get so bored.
And you've seen this movie how many times?
At least 10.
Right. But we're also dialogue people, and that also propels the score for me a little bit because there are tons of quotable moments. Like what you said before we started recording that you had quotes that you wanted to talk about. What were some of those quotes?
So my favorite quotes are "No fucking shit, lady. Do I sound like I'm ordering a pizza?" When he's on the on the radio on channel 6 or 9 talking about how the plaza's under attack, and the lady's like, "Oh no, we don't, this is reserved for emergencies only. If you have a problem, please hang up and dial 911."
He's like, "No shit, lady. Would it sound like I'm ordering a pizza?"
Yeah.
That one's great. I'm trying to think. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker will probably be my favorite because that whole interaction where he's talking about, he's like, "Oh yeah, you're a cowboy. Grew up watching John Wayne and thinking that you're Rambo."
I don't know if it's Rambo, but yeah, basically.
No, he says Rambo. Because Rambo came out before this.
That's fair.
Which is perfect, right?
Yeah.
But no, that's the other thing. Probably the most iconic catchphrase is yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. That's why I'm like, I don't know. But that whole setup for it, where he goes, "What are you going to do, cowboy?" It's like, "Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker." So it's also his catchphrase for the sequels, which weren't nearly as good. I think the first two are probably the best.
Absolutely. I don't know if I was talking to you or someone else about it. No, it was definitely someone else. I was talking to one of my friends about this movie. And he was like, "I love the Die Hard movies up until 5. And the reason that is because they get bigger every time. The first one, he's like, "I'm going to save this tower." And the second one, he's like, "I'm going to save this city." And the third one, because it gets progressively bigger and bigger. And he was like, "But I hated the last one because he went from saving the whole United States to saving Russia." And I was like, wait. I was like, "But you said the reason you like it is because it gets bigger every time." And he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Russia's bigger than the U.S." And he just, gruffed and got mad. And was like, "It doesn't make sense. It's not as big. He should have been saving the whole planet." It's just really silly.
I mean, you're not wrong. Russia is bigger than the U.S.
It's because I agree that the movies get progressively worse, but that being his reasoning as to why it's worse is because he goes from saving all of the United States to saving Russia was silly to me.
Right. Because after Russia is the whole world.
Yeah.
And then he has to save outer space.
Yeah, from aliens.
Die Hard 7. Die Hard in space.
Well, if Bruce Willis is dying, I guess there probably won't be a Die Hard in space.
Have you watched Armageddon?
Isn't that a volcano, though?
No, it's an asteroid.
Oh. I don't know what I'm thinking of.
Journey to the Center of the Earth?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I'm not really a big fan of the Die Hard movies because they're okay. This one probably has the best dialogue. 2 had some good dialogue in it too, but this one has the best dialogue and is slightly more believable. Hear me out. As far as an action movie goes, once you get to the other ones, it just gets progressively bigger and bigger and dumber and dumber. This one is more believable and like, oh, well, the company got taken over by terrorists who want some bail bonds and some ancient artifacts. It's like, Indiana Jones. Okay, maybe. Probably not with the security system, but maybe. And then the second one is like, oh yeah, they've taken the city. Okay, one guy's gonna stop that. I don't know about that one. A little less believable in that one. Okay, and then the whole United States. Why can't the government do that? Why doesn't the government step in?
Have you? Never mind. Never mind.
But yeah, no, that's just that. And that's my thought process with this one is at least somewhat believable. Not completely, but more so than the others.
I mean, that's fair. I don't know if believability is super important in action movies, though.
No, because the explosions are what's more important, which is why every Michael Bay movie is great.
Fast and the Furious?
Explosion. Well, this has some good explosions too. Like my favorite scene in the whole movie is when he's. I'll talk about two. I'll talk about two of them. The first one is when he is up on the roof and he is trying to get them to like go down and waving at him, being like, "Nah, nah, get down. The roof's gonna blow." And then the FBI circling overhead, and they're like, "Oh, he's gonna land. He's gonna blow everybody up. This is bad." So then he starts shooting, just kind of in the air, all willy nilly, to get the people to go back down. And the FBI is like, "That's terrorists. Try to take him out." But before they can do that, the roof explodes. And when it explodes, he grabs the fire hose and uses that to propel himself off of the building. And then it catches, but breaks, and then catches on the ledge. And he has to, shoot the window because he's with his bloodied feet trying to break it, shoots the window, and then swings into it at the last minute for when it falls. And then he would have died. That was great. That was great use of explosions.
Great use of explosions, and I feel like they did suspense really well in this movie.
Yes.
Another scene where I think suspense was done really well was when Al, the cop, initially entered the plaza and was walking around talking to the security guard. And it shows him walking towards the camera, but the camera shows around the corner and it shows a terrorist with, his firearm there ready to, pop the cop when he turns the corner. And then it shows the cop saying, "Oh, never mind, fuck this, I don't give a shit. There's nothing going on here." And I felt tense during that. I think they did suspense really well.
Well, that's because it doesn't show the guy. It just shows the muzzle of the gun. Like it doesn't show him. Like the way that they have that shot was it doesn't really show him. It shows like, the muzzle of the gun in his hand. You don't see him. You don't know which guy it is or anything, but you know that there's somebody back there. And then him getting very, very close to turning that corner, but having that gut intuition of like, there's probably nothing going on. Who cares? And then turning back around was great. And I think that's why it was suspenseful. If it had shown the whole body, it would have been less impactful.
Maybe. I don't know. But I thought that was a really suspenseful scene. I thought they did that really well.
No, and it was. And I really liked it. I thought the dialogue with that guy was funny, though. Because he's sitting here watching the football game and goes, "Come on, I bet $50 on these guys." Trying to sound like an American.
Oh, yeah. So that was really good of Alan Rickman. I didn't think his American accent when he ends up actually meeting with Bruce Willis, I didn't think his accent was super good. I thought it was really funny listening him try to do an American accent.
Yeah, and the dialogue between him and Bruce Willis where he was talking about, you should get an Academy Award for that. That was great. Great accent. Made it even better. Because it wasn't that good.
No.
It was probably one of the worst accents I've ever heard.
It was
completely honest.
It wasn't convincing at all, but it was funny, and I think that that was intentional. Like I don't think he was actually told do a really good American accent. I think he was probably told do a shitty American accent.
Yeah, try it because I'm pretty sure he's more than capable of being able to do that.
From what I understand, talking to people from like the UK and stuff, doing a US American accent is super easy because you just relax your tongue and don't enunciate as well as you should.
Right. There was an interview with Tom Holland where he said that.
Is he said it?
Yeah, probably. Because he switches from American, like sometimes he'll just be talking and then just do his American accent without realizing it because it's so easy to go into. And he's like, yeah, The reason that Americans have such a hard time doing British accents is because you have to like tighten it up, and we're more prim and proper and enunciate a lot better, and that's harder to do. But when you do the American accent, like you said, you just relax and kind of get stupid,
Yeah, let it roll off.
let it roll off the tongue. What was it? What was your favorite explosion
My favorite explosion?
or like action scene? I guess same thing.
I really like it when Bruce Willis turns one of the terrorists into Cotton Hill. If you don't know what I'm talking about, there's a scene where Bruce Willis takes this terrorist's shins, which is the exact same thing that happened to Cotton Hill in King of the Hill. And I think that it's really important. No, I just laughed hysterically when he did it because that's immediately what popped into my head was King of the Hill. I just laughed hysterically.
I'm surprised you didn't talk about the elevator bomb since you brought that up.
I mean, the elevator bomb was also really cool. He just sent his payload down the shaft and it exploded. You know what I'm saying?
No, I don't. Please elaborate on that one.
He takes C4 and he gets it armed and he drops it down the elevator and makes a big explosion and then somehow doesn't get arrested for it. Even though if he was doing it to kill terrorists, he would probably still get arrested for using C4 in a public space like that.
You know why he doesn't get arrested?
No, it doesn't make sense.
It does. It makes perfect sense. Because at the end of the movie, police chief is coming over and he's like, I got some questions for you. He's about to arrest him. And then the Dolph Lundgren lookalike motherfucker, who I don't get how he was still alive. Like, that motherfucker was hanging from a chain a good 15 feet in the air, easily. And he smacked into a wall that knocked him unconscious. And you're telling me he woke up before he got strangled and then got out of that, dropped down, didn't break his legs or anything? Like, that's a 15, 20-foot drop. Like, come on. And then just grabs a gun and is about to shoot, and then Al's like, not today, motherfucker, and blasts him into the next universe. And when he does that, everybody goes down, and the police chief magically forgets about why he was here because he disappears, and that's how he gets out of not being arrested.
So I don't think the police are the ones who would arrest him. I feel like the FBI would.
No, they can't though.
For why?
Because Al saves him, and everybody forgets. Like, that's the moment where everybody just forgets everything that happened.
I don't think that's how memory works.
It is in action movies.
Right.
That's literally what happened. That's why he doesn't get arrested, because the guy comes out and everybody's like, oh shit, I'm scared. I can't believe this guy almost bulldozed all of us with a machine gun, but Al saved the day. Oh, Al, thank you for that one. Fuck you, John McClane.
I recognize that that's how things work in action movies, but what I'm saying is that's a little bit of my belief that I have issues suspending, or a little bit of my disbelief that I have issues suspending.
I get what you're saying, but that's not how it works.
That's part of the reason why I don't like action movies, because shit don't make sense.
It's a fun time.
No, it was fun. I thoroughly enjoyed this Christmas movie.
I did too. It's probably my favorite Christmas movie to watch around the holidays.
It's one that I try to get in at least once a year around the holidays.
Oh yeah, this is definitely one of those Christmas movies. If you're ever in a relationship and your partner wants to watch an actual Christmas movie and you're not a Christmas movie person, you're like, no. You just make a deal with them. You're like, well, we can watch your Christmas movie, but you got to watch mine. And then they'll be like, oh, okay. And put on something like A Christmas Story, Miracle on 34th Street, The Santa Claus, Elf.
Anna and the Apocalypse.
Not Anna and the Apocalypse.
It's a Christmas movie too.
It is, and you can surprise them with Anna and the Apocalypse too. Be like, here's a Christmas musical, motherfucker. Or you can go, yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker, Die Hard, and that's how you get out of that. It's also a great movie to show your kids. Fun for the whole family. Like Rudolph.
I'm not surprised that this movie is rated R. Up until recently, I had never paid attention to stuff like that. And I'm really surprised at how much cussing and blood is in this movie, because I don't remember it having very much blood or anything when I was little seeing it.
Oh yeah, there's tons of gore. Like you even said a dude gets his legs shredded by machine gun fire.
Oh, and there's like blood and everything. it's surprising because I don't remember it being that graphic when I was little. Or the last time I watched it when I was younger, not actually paying attention to stuff like that for the podcast.
Right, because you were just paying attention to boom, boom, which is enjoyable. I don't know. Doing the podcast is funny because you watch things from such a critical level that things like that open up where you go, man, they said fuck quite a bit.
Had you asked me 3 days ago if there was blood in Die Hard, I would have been like, people die, but no one actually bleeds.
I thought the only time I can remember, but before I watched it again for the podcast, the only time I could remember actually being blood was the foot when he goes, shoot the glass.
Me too.
Because I remember very distinctively when he's crawling into the bathroom, there's blood, and you watch him pull the glass out of his foot.
Yeah, that's the only instance of blood I would have been able to distinctly tell you about prior to last night rewatching it.
Well, because even when he's covered in blood at the end of the movie, I thought it was dirt. Because he's so dirty throughout the entire movie, that it's just this natural assumption of, oh, he's just covered in soot, dirt, whatever you want to call it. No, it's blood.
Yeah.
And I don't remember the bullet. Like, I didn't remember the leg shredding scene at all until I watched it, and I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, and they're solid scenes, nothing wrong with them at all, but this is something that had my family at any of the family stuff I've been to turned on Christmas movies and been like, hey Bailey, what do you want to turn on for a Christmas movie? I would have been like Die Hard with like my 5-year-old cousins and, stuff. Not even thinking that it could potentially be inappropriate for them, because I remember seeing it when I was little and it not being inappropriate at all in my mind.
And now watching it, you're like, holy shit.
Yeah. It took away some of the Christmassy elements, but then I remembered that blood is red and Christmas's colors are red and green. So I was like, oh, actually, blood does add to the Christmas element.
It is a Christmas movie.
Yeah, exactly.
I would say don't show it to kids, but you can watch it as a Christmas movie. Like, it's not as bloody as we're making it out to be, but it is.
It's not, but it is.
It's not, but it is. Oh, one thing that I did want to mention is fun little fact. When Hans Gruber dies, that was Alan Rickman's actual reaction because they didn't tell him when they were going to release it. So he was on like a catch and release mechanism in order to fall, obviously. And what they had told him going into it was, we're going to drop you on 3. So he would be ready for it. And, he was kind of scared of it anyway because he's not very good with height, or wasn't very good with heights. He's dead, rest his soul. But he wasn't good with heights, so he didn't really want to do it. So they told him, don't worry, we'll release you on 3. And then they counted to 1 and dropped it. So when you see him like do that oh shit expression, that is legitimate fear. That was, you think that it's just really good acting. No, it was real.
Whatever works, right?
I mean, yeah, method acting is like one of my favorite things in the world. So this was super method acting. Well, because even that scene could have been graphic, and it wasn't, because you don't actually see, you see Hans fall, but you don't see him hit. You don't see any of the aftermath.
You don't see him pancaked.
No, you don't see anything. So it could have been a lot bloodier than it was.
Right. I mean, like you said, it's not as bloody as we're making it out to be. It's just surprising coming from not thinking there's any in it. Because I would have said that this was PG-13. Prior to rewatching it, had you said, what rating is it? There were titties in this movie. I don't remember there being titties in this movie.
I don't remember there being titties in the movie either, but the titties in this movie are from a poster, like a pin-up poster.
I mean, there are those too, but there's an actual scene at the beginning when the terrorists come in. One of the offices, they opened the door to go in. There's a lady without her top on and a dude in there, presumably booty bumping, and you get to see her titties.
I forgot about that.
I don't remember that scene being in there when I was little. So what I'm thinking is there's probably a TV version of this that doesn't show the blood, doesn't show all of the deaths, doesn't show the titties.
There has to be, because I know for a fact that this is played on television
a lot, especially in like 2005, because that's when I saw it for the first time, probably.
Well, and if I'm thinking about it, 1988 censorship was a little bit stricter than it is now, so they would probably remove a lot of it for TV.
Well, so it's 2 hours and 12 minutes, the version I watched, and I don't know if I remember it being a 2 hour and 12 minute movie.
I don't remember it being a 2 hour and 12 movie either, but it is.
So it's possible that the TV version's only like an hour and 45 minutes and they just cut out all of the blood and all of the stuff like that. And that's why I remember it being different than the way I watched it last night, because I actually rented it yesterday.
Mm-hmm. There are 57 uses of the word fuck, 1 use of dickhead, 17 uses of damn, 14 goddams, many uses of shit and asshole, in other words such as hell and pissed. Son of a bitch is said, dickhead said twice. Wow. And butt fucked.
Is that a bad word?
Butt fucked, yeah.
Really?
It's butt fucked. But see, like, that's just surprising, though, because if you look on IMDb, it's, severe profanity, severe violence, and gore. And then it's just mild sex and nudity. Even though there's a topless woman at 23 minutes, the one that you're talking about, because I forget about that. And then the poster, 45 minutes, and, the implied sex scenes. But yeah, that's just mild. And then it's moderate drugs and alcohol.
Because of the one scene where the dude is presumably doing cocaine?
I mean, I guess, because cocaine is briefly snorted twice, but several characters smoke cigarettes, people drink alcohol at the party. 2 men walk in on 1 man finishing snorting cocaine.
Yeah.
But that one I don't really agree with. And then the frightening and intense scenes are moderate. I mean, the scene between, John and Carl is brutal, don't get me wrong. But, I don't know. Some of those I don't really agree with. But it's kind of a brutal movie, I guess, according to those.
Yeah. No, it's interesting that the last 2 episodes we've had a section dedicated to how violent / ratings.
Should we just do that from now on? Make that a segment?
I mean, I think it could be a segment in episodes where we're surprised at the rating of the movie.
Yeah, because I didn't think that this was as hard of an R rating as that makes it a very hard R-rated movie. And I'm like, oh, I thought it was kind of just like a soft R, maybe said fuck 10 times or whatever. 57, that's a lot. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Like, it's a good movie, but when shit like that pops up, it's just super interesting to think about,
Do you think we've said fuck more times during this podcast than they've said it in the movie?
Dude, probably. I use fuck quite a bit. So, I've probably said it, but that's okay.
Yeah, it's fine. It's not a problem.
But no, it's a good movie. There's not really much to talk about since it is an action movie. There's a lot of really cool sequences and shootouts. Hans Gruber's a really great villain. Alan Rickman plays him exceptionally well. John McClane is a certified badass.
Absolutely.
The Owl Pal changes his name and becomes Carl Winslow in Family Matters.
Is that how that works?
Yeah, that's how that works. It's my running theory. Because he says in the movie that he's a desk jockey because he shot a 13-year-old kid. And then at the end of the movie, he shoots Carl, right? Or no, that wasn't Carl. It was Carl's brother. Because hold on.
I'm pretty sure it was Carl.
Was
because
that Carl?
Carl's brother is the first guy killed by John McClane.
In a Santa hat with ho, ho, ho. I have a machine gun now. Ho, ho, ho.
Yeah.
Christmas movie. But yeah, because he writes Carl. And I thought it was really cool how he did that, where he was on the elevator and then just starts writing the names on his arm.
It's easier to keep track of how many there are if you have, unique identifiers such as names.
Well, because he also looks for their wallets and shit, so that way he can see who he's killed, which I thought was cool. The amount of ammunition that he comes across baffles me sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
In this movie.
The fact that bullets aren't a problem is weird.
Because you would, hypothetically speaking, if you were to pull off a heist like this, you would think that there would be certain situations where it would be that way. But yeah, I think that you would come into a situation where if you wouldn't bring that many bullets, right? Because you have your team, you have your machine guns, you're going to be carrying large amounts of things out because they get the ambulance ready to try to load everything in at the end of the movie. I don't think you'd bring that much ammo. Because realistically speaking, with the amount of preparation that they had, they brought a fucking rocket launcher.
Yeah.
Why do you need machine guns? You need machine guns in case people break in, but Hans is anticipating the FBI. He even says he doesn't care about the LAPD. Let them negotiate, talk, whatever, who cares? because once the FBI gets there, he'll care. So realistically, you're going to save your big shit for the FBI, and that is what he's talking about with the rocket launcher, right? So presumably they probably have more than that. And don't get me wrong, he had C4. There was a shit ton of C4 in the ceiling, and he had duffel bags full of clips for the machine guns. But hypothetically speaking, let's just say that there's 12 of them, and each guy has 2 duffel bags full of ammo. How many rounds can a standard clip hold?
So the basic magazines that we had when I was in the Army held 30.
Okay, so 30. And how many of those do you think would fit in a duffel bag?
For like an M4, a big duffel bag like that, you could probably get a couple hundred, like at least 100. You could probably get more than 300 rounds in one duffel bag.
Right. So we'll say 200 rounds, make it easy. 300. You gonna do 300? We'll do 300 per duffel bag, so 600 total rounds per person.
I feel like even that is a small estimate because you could probably get
5.
You could probably get more than 10 in there. You could probably get more than 1,000 rounds into each of those duffel bags because they're pretty big duffel bags and magazines aren't very large.
Right. But you're going to want to use those duffel bags to transport your items that you're getting, the bonds, and all that shit, because there's, what did he say, $600 million worth of bonds that he's basically taking. And there's a lot of stacks of paper. The duffel bags are made for that. Even when John opens up the duffel bag and has the magazine clips with like the C4 in them, there weren't very many clips in there. Judging by that, and judging by the artillery that they have gotten with them, every guy shouldn't have that many clips on him.
I agree that they had way too many bullets.
Like, way too many bullets. And the fact that he very rarely ran out of bullets. And also, were handguns ever used? Was he the only person using a handgun? Because I'm pretty confident that they had machine guns the entire time.
At one point, Hans is walking around with a handgun.
Because he gives them to him.
Well, no, Hans, the gun he kills Takami with is a handgun.
Yeah, but that was his, though. Like, he had that on him. So realistically speaking, that's their backup plan. Like, he had that. Like, he has his. He's the only person I've seen with a handgun, right? Like, he has a pistol. Everybody else has automatic weapons.
I mean, John initially had a pistol as well.
Right, but he didn't bring extra ammo, is what I'm saying. So the only ammo that would actually be brought is the one for Hans, but Hans is the brains of the operation and doesn't really get into the nitty-gritty and only uses his gun in extreme situations when he needs to kill somebody or when he needs to, fire off a round or two to show I'm not fucking around.
Yeah, to display power.
So 16, we'll say he has one in the chamber, standard clip holds 15, so we'll say 6, right? For a handgun?
I don't know. Yeah. I didn't use handguns at all.
So we'll say 16. And then he can probably have a couple clips on him. So where does John get that many bullets for his handgun? Because he uses that motherfucker quite a bit.
It's called suspend your disbelief, sir. It's the same reason he didn't go to jail.
What are you talking about? That made sense.
Okay.
That one made sense. No, but I mean, overall, he's got like suspend your disbelief. It's a good movie and it's a classic Christmas movie, so I would say watch it.
Yeah, I would recommend watching it. There's no reason not to watch it unless you have small kids and you don't want to hear them, or you don't want them to hear fuck 50 sometimes or see titties for like 2 seconds.
Right, that would be really bad.
Or, see someone's legs get blown off.
Or see someone shot in the dick.
That was funny.
That one was.
Like, that one was a little graphic. It hurt me. I felt physical pain from it, but that's just because I'm empathetic towards dick pain.
I think all guys are. You're running out of table, Mr. McLean. You should always take your shots when you are given them and don't hesitate. Boom, 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 boom. Thanks for the advice.
It's a good idea.
It's a good idea. Like, that was one of my favorite quotes. Did you have any more quotes that you wanted to talk about? Because you said this was a quotable movie, and I'll be honest with you, I've talked about everything that I wanted to talk about.
So the only other quote that I have written down that we didn't talk about is when the police are sending their armored vehicle up the stairs, and it gets hit with the first rocket. The hacker, the terrorist hacker, you know who I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
He had a bunch of really funny quotes, but my favorite from him is, "Oh my God, the quarterback is toast." When they fired the rocket at
That
the
was
armor
good.
truck, so funny. And it was also super funny when Argyle hits him as he's like trying to leave in the van, and then gets over and runs and punches him in the face.
Because he's backing up the ambulance. So, because that was a great escape, you know. There's going to be explosions and they're going to call in the paramedics. So, great way to slip out. But our guy was like, nah, you about to get fucked.
Yeah, it was beautiful. I loved it.
Our guy was a great character. One of my favorite scenes is when Al is being shot at, you know, after he makes his initial appearance and John drops the body on him and they start firing. And as he's, you know, backing up and flying, Argyle's just in the like in the fucking limo rocking out, not a care in the world.
Yeah, that's fun. That's cool shit.
He was good. Oh, my favorite quote from him is, "If this is what your Christmas is like, you can't wait to see New Year's."
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good movie. I liked it. So speaking of that one, I have a Taylor talk for you.
All right, what do you got for us today, Taylor?
So I'm just gonna ask you some questions on, because like, so here are some movies that could technically be considered Christmas movies because of the time that they take place and some of the subject matter, and I just want to see if you agree with them. Okay. If you haven't seen them, it's okay. But like L.A. Confidential.
I don't think I've seen it.
Okay. 3 Days of the Condor.
I don't think I've seen it.
Oh, okay. Gremlins.
Gremlins is a Christmas movie.
Okay, that's a Christmas movie.
Hard facts. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, because L.A. Confidential and 3 Days of the Condor take place on Christmas time and have Christmas scenery and stuff in them.
I don't know if they are Christmas movies. However, Gremlins easily is a Christmas movie.
What about Edward Scissorhands?
I don't think Edward Scissorhands is a Christmas movie.
Why?
Because while it is Christmas at parts during it, the whole thing doesn't happen over Christmas. It's longer than that, isn't it? Isn't it like a few month period?
Yeah, but Christmas takes place. This motherfucker's chopping up trees like the whole movie.
Right, but it's the same reason that Harry Potter, the first Sorcerer's Stone, isn't a Christmas movie.
Oh, that was on the list.
Yeah, okay, well, yeah, it's the same reason that it isn't. While it has Christmassy elements and there is a period of the movie that takes place during Christmas, a majority of it isn't centered around Christmas.
Okay, well, what about The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe?
Christmas movie.
Okay. Trading Places.
What?
Trading Places.
I don't know if I've seen it.
The Eddie Murphy and Dan...
I haven't seen it.
The Ghostbusters. Dan Aykroyd.
Nope.
Where the homeless guy trades places with the... he's like a broker or some shit, and they trade places.
Freaky Friday?
It's not Freaky Friday. It's like a Christmas thing. His boss... It's like a bet. Okay. I would count that as a Christmas movie. What about Eyes Wide Shut?
Stanley Kubrick?
Yeah.
That's not a Christmas movie.
Dude, there are so many Christmassy things in the movie in the background. Christmas movie.
Cult movie.
Christmas movie.
Cult movie.
How many scenes can you think of where a Christmas tree or some kind of Christmas decoration is in it?
I can think of a couple.
Exact Christmas movie.
I would have to rewatch it to have an opinion. My immediate opinion after not having seen it since probably like 2015 or 2016, I would say it's not a Christmas movie. But upon rewatching it, I might have a different opinion.
Okay, what about Reindeer Games?
I don't think I've seen it. Because it has reindeer in the title, I would argue that it is probably a Christmas movie. However, I don't have any recollection of seeing it, so I can't definitively say.
I'm pretty sure it happens around Christmas time. I don't think it takes place on Christmas. What about like Bad Santa?
Christmas movie.
You think Bad Santa is?
Absolutely. And Bad Santa too.
Those are 100% Christmas movies.
There is no doubt in my mind that those are Christmas movies.
Okay.
Do you think they're Christmas movies?
No,
Why?
they're not Christmas movies.
Why?
They take place on Christmas, but he doesn't do anything. But it's not Christmas related.
It is, everything about it is Christmas related. What do you mean? He's a mall Santa.
Okay, then Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is a Christmas movie
I haven't seen it.
because she wears a Santa outfit for like half the movie, like
Right.
a sexy Santa outfit, and he wears a Santa outfit for the movie.
Because he's a mall Santa. Is she just a bitch in a Christmas outfit? Or is she like Santa's little helper?
She ain't Santa's little helper.
So she's just a bitch in a Christmas outfit. That doesn't fucking mean anything.
That's a Christmas movie. Okay, Lethal Weapon.
Yeah, it's a Christmas movie.
Okay, because I think that's the first Christmas movie. like an action. So it came out before Die Hard, right? And everybody's like, Die Hard's a Christmas movie. I think Lethal Weapon's more of a Christmas movie because it did it first.
It might be more of a Christmas movie, but it's not a better Christmas movie. Die Hard's the best Christmas movie.
Elf is the best Christmas movie.
Well, okay, if we're being serious, then A Christmas Story is the best Christmas movie. But for the sake of the podcast, the best Christmas movie is Die Hard.
I mean, it is good, but you don't consider Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
I haven't seen it.
I'm sorry. I tried to pick ones that I thought you would see.
I'm sorry.
Okay. I thought you would have seen L.A. Confidential. The 3 Days of the Condor was one that I kind of just threw on there. I researched it, didn't really see it. But like Gremlins, Edward Scissorhands, Lion, the Witch, the Wardrobe, I really thought you had seen Trading Places.
No.
Okay, that one surprised me. And then Reindeer Games for the obvious reason. Like it takes place around there and it's called Reindeer Games, but it's about an ex-con who assumes his cellmate's identity. So it takes place around Christmas.
That sounds super familiar.
It's got a Ben Affleck in it, I think. After assuming his dead cellmate's identity to get with the other man's girlfriend, an ex-convict finds himself a reluctant participant in a casino heist. Okay, but yeah, as long as we agree the Lethal Weapon is a Christmas movie.
Lethal Weapon's a Christmas movie.
Because I've had people argue with me on that one. I'm like, there's literally a scene that takes place inside of a Christmas tree farm. Like, there's a Christmas tree farm shootout.
Okay, I've got one for you.
Okay.
The Harold and Kumar 3 Christmas movie.
Yeah, based off of because some of those were like, I mean, if I think that Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is a Christmas movie because of what she wears, then Harold and Kumar 3 is a Christmas movie. It's a not traditional Christmas movie.
Yeah.
Like, The Nightmare Before Christmas is a Christmas movie, but it's a Halloween movie too.
I think it's a Halloween movie.
I think it's more of a Christmas movie.
Interesting.
Yeah, really?
No, I mean, I know a lot of people agree with you. I just don't.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, no, I agree that it's a Christmas movie. I think it's more of a Halloween movie.
I think you're more wrong than anything. But yeah, that's kind of all I had. Just seeing if you, and I apologize for you not seeing those movies.
No, you're okay. If I had seen them all, it would seem more planned. And it's really not.
No, we kind of surprise each other with these, if that wasn't apparently obvious. So.
Yeah.
But with that being said, this has been the Christmas special spectacular over the greatest Christmas movie of all time. By the time this episode's out, we'll be releasing a bonus episode, which is our end of the year episode. Kind of wraps everything up that we've done.
We take a look back at the good times and the bad times.
The good movies and the bad movies. The good episodes, the bad episodes. And we're really just taking you on a journey to show you how far we've come.
How far we can come.
We can come even farther than we already have.
Yeah.
We're going to come so far next year. 2022, baby.
2023.
Oh, shit, I'm going backwards.
But with that being said, I'm Bailey.
And I'm Taylor.
And if you don't follow us on, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, any of those, a link to them is in our description. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to email us at 2idiots1podcast2022@gmail.com. And, as always, thank you for listening, and we hope you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
Bye.